Good morning. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. I've had some people ask me, and I think it's a great question, why, if I believe that America is in its decline, if I believe that it's going to fragment and balkanize, which I do, which I've explained over on some videos over on integrative preparedness, and if I believe that America is soon to be no more as we know it. And soon, I mean, that's a relative term. Who knows what soon means? Could be next week, could be 50 years from now. That if I believe that, like I say, which I do, then why have I come on here and said that we should say that we should fight against this? Okay, I think that's a great question, and I'm going to answer that. First off, yes, I do believe that America is in its decline. I've mentioned a number of times John Glubb's treatise, The Fate of Empires. I believe I covered it in my book, one of my books in the Stonemont series. And for any of you who may be joining here that haven't followed me over on Integrated Preparedness, I'll put the links to my books down here. Um, and he, in his Fate of Empires, he pretty much traces uh, empires throughout history and their rise and their fall. And he shows how there's a pattern in their rise and their apex and their fall and their collapse. And if you read that, and I suggest that you do, um, you'll see that our country is pretty much in the decline right now and probably approaching the collapse. Um, I don't think. I mean, our country has reached a point to where the split between two diametrically opposed sides is almost complete. It didn't used to be like this, and I've mentioned this before. I know 50 years ago, uh, no matter what people's political persuasions were, their race, their religion, whatever, most people felt pretty much the same about the basic issues. They may have differences in economics and social programs and things like that, but you couldn't find a parent that would say, Johnny, go out there and cheat on your test today so that you can get a place in college, or you couldn't find somebody that said, well, it's okay to slaughter babies up until the time of birth, or you couldn't find people that would say, well, it's okay to, to pursue any kind of lifestyle you want to, and the rest of society should simply accept that. You would not find that. Uh, Today you do. The most unbelievably asinine ideas that you can imagine, the things that we used to laugh at and make jokes at, like, well, pretty soon they'll be charging, or, whatever. Well, they're true now. They have come true. And there is a poison that's grown in this country, and I think that the poison has reached the point to where the patient, being our country, can not much longer survive it. Okay, so that's the point we've reached, and that's why I think that this country is in for a major change, and may stop being a country like it is sometime in the future. When that is, I don't know, but anyway, so why should we fight? If I think this is a fait accompli, then why should we fight? Well, the reason that we should fight is because there is going to be something coming out the other side. Okay, we've seen empires rise and fall throughout history. We've seen countries just within the last century, as a result of world wars and civil wars and internal conflicts and economic upheaval and all sorts of things. We have seen them change drastically, both in their governance and in their area, their borders, their alliances. We have seen them change. And the same thing can and I think will happen here. The reason that we want to fight, and I'm going to cover how we fight in the next one, because I want to keep these kind of short snippets. Um, the reason that we fight is because we want something good coming out the other side of this. Okay, there's no reason to go through. I mean, if I thought that the whole thing was just going to collapse and there was no hope at all, okay, I'd say let's go fight it right now. But that's not the way things work. We want to bring something good out the other side of this. Okay, and that something good can be a different kind, a new America. And I've started a series of books on that. I'm not trying to hype those books, but I look at as a new America. What would that look like? Well, it might be a more nationalistic type of community, if you say. In that, I mean that it might be those who look at the country, um, those who look at a new America based on those principles and values that our original founding fathers uh, tried to base this one on, and that we come together as American nationalists and seeking to build from the ashes of a collapse a new type, a new country, uh, wherein the citizens of that country again share those basic beliefs. Okay, and that would mean that people who don't share those beliefs get to go off and do their own thing. You know, a lot of us have said throughout the years, "Hey, let the blue states be the blue states and the red states be the red states." And really, it's not states; it just comes down to cities and non-cities, because pretty much every state you look at the map and you know the United States is all red except for the metropolitan centers, and those are the centers you know populated for the most part by government workers and government dependents, those people that absorb the tax money paid by everybody else. They are the parasite. They are the parasite of the rest of the country, and so hardworking people for the last you know 60 to 70 years have been out there scratching and doing their best to build lives for themselves and out of a sense of out of a sense of just doing what's right and also some patriotism, have worked hard and thrown their money into the big pot from which the non-producers you know just keep on ladling out stuff into their own soup bowl and taking from that, and as a result our country has become much weaker than it should be. Well, it's time for that to stop. It is time to separate. It is time, and I'll talk more about how we do that in a later one. But it is time to separate the producers from the those who simply consume. Now we all consume, you know, but most of us produce, and it is time to separate those people who just you know suck off the rest of us, or separate ourselves from them. We're not going to throw them somewhere. We simply need to remove ourselves to the best extent that we can from that system that supports a socialist idea. If we don't do that, we're simply going to slide farther and farther and farther into what we're seeing now, a socialist, a Marxist movement that is well underway in our country, and that's going to be a long future for us. And none of us want that. I know that. So this is what I mean about a nationalist ideal. Okay, that we separate those of us who believe in the basic principles of honesty, of honor, of virtue, of independence, of liberty, of you know individual responsibility. We need to separate ourselves and stop supporting the rest as much as we can, and then also strengthen ourselves. We need to strengthen ourselves, our families, our communities, our circles, and I'll be getting into that in the next one, how we fight. But the reason that we fight is because there is something that can be brought out the other end of this that can be better than what we're living in now. Okay. And and that should give us great. I don't even like to use the word hope, but it gives us a purpose. It gives us a reason, and we need to see that clearly. No matter what we find we're going through now, no matter what we're going to see we're going through in the next few years, or however long this takes, uh, we need to start working on that, because that other side is going to collapse. It will collapse, as we've seen socialist and communist countries collapse before, and we don't want to be a part of that collapse. We want to be ready to come out the other side. Okay? And there's several ways to do that, and I'll talk about that again in another one. So anyway, that's the reason, and I'll cut this off now. But that's the reason when people have asked, well, if you think everything's falling apart, what's the use of fighting? That's the reason. That's the use of fighting, because it is going to fragment, it is going to collapse, but we don't want to go down with it. Okay. There's no reason. If you were on the Titanic, you say, well, what use is a lifeboat, right? Because it's sinking anyway. Well, the people that got on the lifeboats, when they got picked up, they said, oh, that lifeboat wasn't too bad. Okay, so that's what we need. Prepare yourself. This is going to be interesting, an interesting time ahead of us, but it's time to think about fighting. We'll talk about that next time. Please please subscribe, please hit the bell, and please share this with your friends. Send them around. And please comment. Give us your thoughts. Let everybody else hear. And I will say this too. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm getting some trolls over on integrated preparedness. I guess I'm finally big enough over there to get some. But the people here on American Reversion are so nice and thoughtful. And we're going to keep it that way. So for anybody who stumbles across this, who may want to make derogatory comments or anything, no, we don't do that here. This is American Reversion. This is America the way that it used to be, should be, and is going to be. And if you're impolite with us here on American Reversion, I don't leave you on to let other people comment. I just wash you away. Okay, like the rest is going to be washed away someday. Okay, you all have a great day. Please, again, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.